All right. One big thing that I have to do is be not loud because my wife is sleeping next door or next door in the next room, and I can't be too loud because she hates when I'm too loud. So, like I said on Instagram, we're going to go over pick and rolls and how players read and um, kind of different stuff that they do off pick and rolls, ball screens, and stuff like that. Pretty interesting. Again, this is a first time stream, so I just want to test out how this goes. I don't have anything fancy going on the screens or all that stuff, so this is going to be a test and see how it goes. So, we are going to go over some of these stuff on the ball screen. All right. By no means is what I say perfect, is what I say going to be 100% correct. I'm still learning. I'm forever going to be learning. So this is kind of the stuff that I've just kind of been taught and learned along the years as far as what to read on the ball screen, type of looks, and how to do, how to set it up and things like that. The first thing is just pace and patience. So you'll see, especially with Chris Paul, I tell you guys all the time, Chris Paul is my favorite point guard of all time. The way he dissects the defense at, 6 foot, 5'11", however tall he is. But yeah, we're going to talk about patience. That's the biggest thing that Chris Paul does. And a lot of these guards nowadays, they just have such a great pace and feel to the pick and roll. Appreciate you coming in. If you guys could say your name, I would appreciate that because I don't know who you guys are, unless your name's in your username. So, but I appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, all these players have good patience, good pace to them. What's up, Craig? How you doing, man? Appreciate you. Yo, what's up, Christian? But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. But I appreciate you guys. NBA players, good pace, good patience coming off the screen, right? They're not just going 100 miles an hour. They're not just, if you go 100 miles an hour and you take there's my dog behind me, and you just go straight, whatever pace it is, it's easy to defend. But if you switch stuff up, defense is going to be on their heels. It's kind of harder to defend. All right, and that kind of ties in with the next point, setting up the screen. Setting up the screen comes with patience. It's hard to use the screen if you can't set it up. You can't let, which is the next point, you can't let the defender get screened without setting up the screen. So whether that's dribbling lower than the screen, whether that's setting something up and using something else as a decoy or looking away and then getting into the screen. There's different stuff we'll see from that. And then once we're using the screen, we're going to see how the ball handler reads the defensive rotations and what the defense gives them, whether it's the low man, whether it's the help side dropping down, just things like that. And it's kind of cool to see how these guards and how these players off the screen just have it so natural and instinctual to them. And then, like I said earlier, and Chris Paul, I know, does this perfectly, that I see all the time, is using his body positioning and his eyes kind of like a quarterback, looking off safeties and linebackers. They do the same thing. They know someone's coming down on this side. They're going to look this way, get the defense just to shift enough, boom, hit them down, open bucket. And then also the last thing is knowing your personnel. Is the ball handler throwing to a shooter? Is the ball handler knowing that this dude can get a lob? So you're not throwing like a 3-point, a pick and pop to a center who can't shoot. There's no point in doing that. It's just that comes with chemistry and playing with your teammates and doing all that stuff. It also comes with studying and studying your team and your teammates' tendencies and things like that. So that's one thing to look for. The first person we're going to go over is Chris Paul. I don't know how long I'm going to spend on each player. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this, and we're just going to see how it goes. In order, this is what I got from Instagram. Well, I said Chris Paul because I just love this guy, so we're definitely going to watch him off the ball screen. And then we're going to go John Wall, John Morant, Steph Curry, and you can kind of just read it down. So I'm going to see how I can get this done. All right, so first one is going to be Chris Paul. And this is all just going to be from this season. And then also the thing that we're going to do is we know how great of scorers these NBA players are, and you see it all the time with the highlights on the scoring and the one-handed and the up and unders and all that stuff. So our main focus, or what I'm going to be focusing on for this one, is just what they do as far as reading. So the extra passes, the setting it up and stuff. So these coming off these screens is not going to be more so scoring. Like if it's Chris Paul, we're not going to watch Chris Paul get a jump shot or something. We're going to kind of just dissect what he sees And something I like to do whenever I'm watching film like this, I like to pause after the screen and kind of see, like, guess where he's going to go with it based on reading the defense, and then we'll kind of just go from there. So it's all just going to be off passes. All right. This is good enough. All right, so Chris Paul was the Suns and Grizzlies.
Offensive and defensive efficiency.
I can pause. All right, so there's the screen. Based on this, he's dropping down. All right, if he comes down, he's going to hit and roll. If he pops up, he's going to hit Kaminsky.
Milwaukee and Utah being the other two.
Cool. Pick and roll, drop. You see Ayton come down here. There's nothing. One thing I really love that Chris Paul does here. So he's here. Let's go back to the beginning.
Defensive efficiency.
Takes his up. See that little hesitation? That's the pace. Set up. Go. And then this is key right here. 2-foot stop. So he can either shoot that, which he's great at. He either pulls it up, and defense has to respect that. So he's closing in hard, and he doesn't know if he should close out and help out here, if he should box out or what, or worry about the roll man, because Chris Paul can do that no-look pass that he always does. So he's here. Well, he notices he can't get a good pass. But now that Kaminsky kind of clears out to the corner, he knows that he's their help defense and he's the backside. But if he stays out here, he's not going to be able to get Ayton's backside. All right, so when Ayton can now post up, he's out. There's no help. One-on-one. Ayton in the one-on-one. It's pretty good compared to Valanciunas. So you can get that barbecue chicken. That's good. Like I said, all of that. Let's go back to it. All of that is patience and kind of just knowing your player. He's not rushing. He's taking his time. He's scanning right now. Eyes up. Scanning. Sees that he dropped out.
Milwaukee and Utah being the other two. Ayton with a half hook.
You look at teams have scouted more. They know.
Let's see. This is another thing that I love that Chris Paul does. Is that even when there's a screen here, he doesn't try to just go off it quick, or he doesn't try to reject it quickly. Sometimes, and hope maybe we'll see film on this, but you'll see a lot of times he kind of just stops and just, while the screen is here, while Ayton's here, he kind of stops and he's on the screen, and Chris Paul's just kind of deciding where he wants to go. It's not something that's like quick. He kind of just stops, either holds his dribble, or kind of stays in place and then decides where to go. So here, this time he just rejects it, or he took his time. Doesn't know what to do, or decides what to do. And then based on this, so he's here. He looks like he's kind of far from his guy, so I think that's Kaminsky. Kaminsky can shoot the three. At least I think that is Kaminsky. But again, if this isn't Kaminsky, it's a three-point shooter who can shoot threes. That's why he's out here. If he stunts at him or bluffs at him, or even in this position right now, this looks like he's going to go here.
His three-point shooting is what he likes.
And there you go. There's Kaminsky. The three, he should have made that. It's all good. But you see here, he's reading. So if he doesn't help, he's able to take Valanciunas one-on-one. He can stop and pop. He can hit Ayton on the roll because Ja's stuck on the screen. So he has a downhill option. Luckily, or not luckily, they decide to bluff him on the free throw line, leaving Kaminsky open for the three, which is ultimately a good choice on here because he misses the three. But here, if Ayton can dive down quick or sprint his roll, Valanciunas is in a tough position, but he kicks it out.
Shooting is what he likes to do, just like Kaminsky, but misses that three.
There should be another screener roll
He
on
is doing
this.
a better job of creating.
Again, he calls out Ayton to come out the screen.
Towards the basket, either
What he
pull
wants
up
to do here. Good here. Waits for the screen. Makes him get set. Hits it. And then bluff. Open shot. Over here, he's forced to help because he's out of position. He's behind Chris Paul. He's stuck on the screen. He has to step up. Open shot from Michael Bridges. Michael Bridges. But here, Chris Paul sees it like 2 steps ahead when he knows if he's going to come in, kick out, open shot to a three-point shooter. That's money.
The thing with Winslow, everybody on the team wanted to see him do well and succeed. The media availabilities he did out of the bubble in Orlando were hilarious. He's got an outsized personality.
Here, sets it up again. So even just that little hip swivel that he does when he squares his body, here, he could either from here cross it over, but he notices Ja is kind of just still on the side and on his heels, so he can use the screen and get by him. Going. Again, that we see all the time. Force a bluff, force a stunt. He's late coming out here. Quick pass to Kaminsky for a 3. Should be a bucket. Good. Yo, what up, Dom?
Yeah, they are struggling significantly on the defensive end. To your point, EJ, they're .562 effective field goal percentage among the second highest by any.
Should be, based on this, looks like Aiden's gonna hit Aiden on the roll.
Perfect. .562 effective field goal percentage among the second.
This one
562
is kind of like a secondary screen, so it's like their secondary offense. As far as not a set offense, it's kind of just a transition. He's coming to come off that little push cross fast. Defense is on their heels. They're not communicating well. They're forced to step up. Chris Paul, DeAndre open.
The NBA ABA merger is DA Hernan Gomez, who has played well in place of Adams. He got big minutes the other night. Played 20-plus minutes.
This is a play that I saw actually someone post on Twitter. It's not this specific one, but it was just such a great setup that I saw. It's a little Iverson screen from Aiden coming across, corner, Iverson screen, and then a little dribble handoff to get this side going. But then this is going to turn into a Spain screen from D-Book. And then what happened last time was against the Magic. Chris Paul had an open lane because this man guarding Aiden got caught because he wasn't expecting the screen from Book, because usually Book is a scorer. It was just a great play.
Who has played well
Iverson screen,
in place of Adams. He
little
got
handoff
the other night.
And notice on here, I know we're supposed to be watching Chris Paul, but it doesn't look like D-Book is doing anything. So a lot of times that I see with players, that it's like they're moving robotic. A lot of players I work with, a lot of players that I see are like high school film, not college so much, but mainly high school that I see. Players like to move robotically. So they're like, I have to go there, I have to go there, I have to do this, I have to do this. They have to do, we as coaches and as players, you have to do better at, and coaches have to be better at coaching this and teaching this, is better, having a better feel for it. I like to think about it as like a wide receiver. You don't just go 100 miles an hour doing an in route or something. You kind of sprint, slow it down, change the speed, and then break out, and then now the defense is the cornerback is on the heels. Similar to this, D-Book is here. He's jogging, making like, oh, I got nothing to do. So now I think that's Lonzo. It's kind of hard to tell. But Lonzo's like, oh, D-Book's kind of jogging. I can rest a little bit. But then D-Book comes in off this screen with Chris Paul. Coming off Aiden, he booked him to set this, or last time he did set the Spain screen and come up. And then, we can't really see it from here, but Chris Paul came down on the screen. Screener got screen, and it was a bucket for Chris Paul. But let's see how this play goes. A different look.
Finished the game with 11 points and grabbed 17.
So for this help side, let's see who's help side. So there's a lot going on here. DeAndre Aiden screen. So Zion, I believe this is Zion, Big Boy Zion is seeing Aiden's about to roll. So Zion has to play that, respect that role. And Alonzo's obviously on Book because Book can score anywhere. So he's coming, and with that role, I guess they were trying to double team him, or I don't know who, or at least try to go back to a switch, because Chris Paul on this center, I don't know who the center is. Chris Paul on this dude is not going to be a good time. So with all that going on, Chris Paul is scanning the court, and he's looking at Zion. There's this video that I saw with Chris Paul where he doesn't even look who's in front of him. He's scanning this help side, this weak side defender. If he stays out here, if he comes out here on the shooter, he can hit DeAndre Ayton on the roll or post up like we saw earlier. But since he sees Zion having to drop to DeAndre Ayton, Kaminsky's wide open for a 3.
minutes. And
Here, Zion has to choose Ayton right here. Now we're all just kind of outnumbered as far as the defense.
finish.
Boom here. Chris Paul sees it. On his feet, overhead pass, strong pass. This is another big thing. This has to be a strong pass. If this is not a strong pass, this tagger, Zion's tagging DeAndre Ayton. If it's a lob pass and a slow pass, Zion can sprint and close out to the shot. But since it's kind of a fast pass coming down here, Zion's not there on
Finish
time.
the game.
Here,
11 point.
a lot of space. For an NBA player, and especially an NBA player who can shoot threes at a high clip, that's easy money right
17
there.
rebounds. It's Kaminsky. Say New Orleans team that allowed 18 three-pointers made against Lillard and
So this is another thing. Pretty much another. Was this the same play?
Gomez.
Oh no, it wasn't the same play.
Say New Orleans team that allowed
Pretty much the same setup. D-Book over here getting ready to screen the screener, but Ayton kind of slips it. Ayton slips the screen because he feels his defender kind of ride him high on the high hedge. So now Ayton's wide open. Book's kind of just there because he's supposed to screen the screener, but now Zion has to choose again. Is he going to get the roll? Or is he going to get Kaminsky? This was just the exact same play before, I believe, or the exact same result. So here Zion has to tag. Book's coming out, so now he has to come up to get Book. Chris Paul sees it. Another zip pass, one hand off the dribble, which is a really tough pass, but when you're a point guard for who's been doing it for however long, he kind of just sees it. One hand zip pass. Zion's tagging. Zip pass, has no time to do a close closeout. Shot. And then even on this, so Zion or Lonzo reads it, and what could have happened was Kaminsky get the extra pass to D-Book. So here you see this double close because they didn't really do a good job of communicating. If Lonzo is gonna close out here, it's a very far closeout, but you'd probably get into a scramble situation where he would come out and Zion would come up and they would kind of come from here. But anyways, he reads it. Could have been an extra pass to D-Book, but wide open either way. Open shot. Cool.
that loss is Kaminsky.
He wants an opportunity. He wants an opportunity to play, but on a team of his choice. And so I think the Pelicans are looking to move him.
All right, let's read the screen.
Team's having a hard time.
We got Zion on Chris Paul. So now you can see this is a smart thing what Chris Paul does and what all NBA players do. They don't try to force anything. Maybe there's space, but he sees Zion. Him. Yeah, Zion is athletic and quick and everything, but when you got a big man on the point guard, that's pretty tough. Got to hit him, but he's going to call it DeAndre on the screen. So based on this, it's kind of hard to tell right now, but it looks like J.J. Redick's foot is in a position to move forward and stop the roll. So I think at this split second, he's reading J.J. Redick. If J.J. Redick comes down on this roll, he's going to hit Crowder for a shot. If J.J. Redick pops out, he's going to hit DeAndre Ayton for an easy dunk. So right now, I think Chris Paul is reading J.J. Redick's, probably his feet and maybe his shoulders, because usually where your shoulders are square to is where you're going to be going. So he's kind of facing a little bit in the paint, but he's probably going to hit Jay Crowder. And there you go. So here, using the screen, sets it up, waits for the screen to get there, doesn't go too early, makes Zion use the screen. Now Zion's out of position. J.J. Redick has to be a tag man. Open.
These young guys, they know how to really get a hand on the ball.
Last meeting, just 23%, one of their worst three-point shooting performances of the season, as Kira Lewis Jr. misfires on that one. We said New Orleans has been a porous.
That was the extra pass I was talking about. So it looks like Pelicans had a hard time. Not a hard time. It's only been 2 plays as far as communicating the closeouts. So let's see this again. DeAndre Ayton used the screen. Another double screen. It was like a staggered screen. So DeAndre's the first man, rolls down, then Crowder. And now they're just kind of out of position. They're kind of reading Ayton. And then this guy, Jackson Hayes, kind of gets caught on the screen. And Jay Crowder's able to slip out. Chris Paul sees it. Jay Crowder's a three-point shooter. But now, again, same situation. We have 2 closeouts. So what could have happened would be Zion closeout and he sticks. But again, miscommunication happens. So 2 closeouts, 1 extra pass. Good read by Jay Crowder. Open shot, each one more is a great shooter too.
All season long and add another one.
Athleticism.
Appreciate you guys watching and following. Armin Sniper 7 sent $50. I don't think that's true, but I appreciate you coming in and commenting. If you did, I'm going to send that right back because there's no way you should be sending me $50.
And long arm.
All right, let's see the next
He
play.
has it all around the rim. Just impossible to stop.
At 36 points in the loss to Portland.
Another double.
Moore puts it on the deck as Hayes runs.
So I did a YouTube video on Chris Paul as far as doing the pick and roll. And what I noticed is he does this behind the back pass all the time, or a lot of the times. And it's not because he's trying to be flashy or anything, because this behind the back pass is the right pass to do. So he's waiting for DeAndre, rocks left a little bit, and then goes right, uses the screen, patience, pace, comes off DeAndre Ayton here. But the reason why he does behind the back pass is because he feels him on his hip and him with trying to flatten him out on that. It's not quite a hedge, but he's just trying to flatten him out to make him go kind of sideways to the sideline. So if Chris Paul were to do a 2-foot stop and have to square and take that pass to Jay Crowder, the defense is going to be able to rotate quickly and come off that screen and rotate quickly because Chris Paul has to stop on 2 feet, square his shoulders, over the head, or whatever pass, and that takes 2 seconds. But Chris Paul realizes that if he's on his left hip right here, that means on this right side he has an opening to get the pass off. Chris Paul's been doing this a while, or he probably practices it too. Is that behind the back pass? This wasn't the best behind the back pass, but a lot of times they're usually on the dime. But here it's just a quick behind the back pass. Wasn't the best one, but it leaves them a lot of space. If it was a good pass, that's an open 3. But then again, another closeout. So another closeout by JJ. And this is what I was talking about, the scramble drill or the scramble situation. Jackson Hayes was about to close out, but then he notices JJ Redick coming up. So he has to come get the next guy. So that's what that scramble situation is. You see how Jackson Hayes kind of turns his foot getting ready to go Jay Crowder, but instead he goes straight to the corner. Comes out, extra pass. And then each one more is able to take it to the rack. Nice, and I think Chris Paul realizes, damn, if I would have made that a better pass, that would have just been an open shot right there because there's nobody near him right there. We'll go a couple more plays. This is just the same game.
A very solid free throw.
And you can kind of see how important this pick and roll is in today's game, whether it's the NBA, college, high school. There's just so much stuff that you have to do as a defense to stop it, whether it's communicating a switch, a hedge, icing or flattening them out or whatever it is, and then also help defense. Do you want to tag or do you want to double team, post, or stay out to the shooters? There's so much stuff that you have to do as a team collectively to stop a pick and roll. And I think that's why it's such a big thing nowadays, especially in today's game. Not only that, because it spreads out the defense. A lot of the times, it's a point guard surrounded by so many shooters, which is what today's game is. A fast-paced game. Either it's a layup or a 3-point shot. And that's just what today's NBA is like. Yeah, anyways. Reading it. So that's a behind-the-back pass again. That was a better pass. So you see, again, left hip. JJ is stuck on E'Twaun Moore because he knows he's a shooter. And he's on here on, I think, Mikal Bridges. It's on the corner. So he reads that. And then they do a good job of stopping DeAndre Ayton. So that has to leave at least one person open because now there's 2 people on Chris Paul. So Chris Paul reads that. Behind the back pass is a quick pass. This time it's on target for an open 3. So that behind the back pass is nothing flashy. It's just the right type of pass to get there to be more efficient.
A very solid free throw shooter.
Here. Left hit, behind the back.
Suns by 4. Kaminsky gives it another look. Boy, this guy has just been red hot. Over the last 5 games, he's shooting nearly 44% from beyond the arc.
So this is another one that with pace. He sees Ayton is kind of being like a fullback right now, and Chris Paul is using him as that screen. It's kind of like a moving screen, but Chris Paul's reading. What should I do? What should I do? There's like a little size-up dribble to see where he's going to go. Sets him up, goes by. He has to stop. He stays up high. He has DeAndre Ayton on the roll. And this is what I was talking about with the eyes. He's looking here. Jay Crowder's a shooter, so they have to respect that. And even this, if it's just a little bit of off balance from the defense, if they're kind of leaning towards Jay Crowder to close out, that's just enough where he can hit DeAndre Ayton for a roll. So you kind of see Chris Paul's eyes look top. Oh, no look pass to DeAndre Ayton. See, that's just enough time for Lonzo to react. So he was thinking about closing out hard to Jay Crowder. He's up, he's looking, and then last second, see how Lonzo is not kind of like in full commit yet? He's reading. Then he sees it's DeAndre Ayton. Then he's going to go out to him, but it's a little too late. And it's easy bucket.
A little bit.
All right, let's look at one more.
To really get in a hurry with the basketball, and they've gotten themselves into a good position.
Ball pass, good. See if we can get one from a different game.
Went to the rim and got
this year. Right now, the Suns are the 4th-rated defensive team.
Sets it up.
Their pace is much slower with Chris Paul.
All right, well, that was kind of easy. He's setting up. So while he's setting it up, he's scanning the defense too, right? So he's scanning up back to the basket, but he knows there's a screen coming. He's reading. You see his head. He's looking. He sees DeAndre Jordan is stuck at the elbow, playing this right here. You see DeAndre Jordan's foot flat, right? His heel's on the ground. He's not going to be able to be. He's standing up tall pretty much. His knees are locked. He's not going to be in athletic stance to kind of close out hard. He knows DeAndre Ayton can score it. Open shot. And let's go. Let's go one more good one. 48-66. Wow.
Space. And as a defender, the only thing you can really do.
Nice rescreen. So it's here. Flips it over. Gets to the other side. Sets it up. See, that's the change of pace right there. He doesn't try to go 100 miles an hour using the screen right down the lane. He squares it up, sets it up, crosses, and then makes a move to the left because he knows now he's cut. Now he's stuck. Now he's going to be out of position. So let's see this one right here. He's out of position. He's looking at CP3. So my guess based on this, because James Harden's stepping in, he's drifting down to the corner. It should be an open 3 to the corner because I feel like DeAndre Jordan's going to stop this or 8. Or not. Never mind. And there you go. James Harden got beat the other side too. So it's kind of just pick your poison. So you're here. Chris Paul easily had this corner 3. And then I didn't even see Jay Crowder here. It's kind of blending in with the baseline. But, yeah, so he's here. James Harden kind of just standing around in La La's land. In La La Land, open mid-range. Which you don't see too much. A mid-range shot, but.
TNT Tuesdays, presented by State Farm.
All right, this is the last one for Chris Paul.
Doubleheader. Pelicans routing Memphis in the first game tonight. Suns.
Screen.
Big scoring game, showing excellent
Flat screen.
defense.
This looks like Jay Crowder's going to be open right here because they kind of doubled and James Harden stayed on him. I don't know why he's still tagged if he's right there. I think that's what they're confused about. So, yeah, that should be Jay Crowder.
Scoring game, showing excellent defense. A little bit of a run here by Brooklyn. Phoenix with the ball after that timeout. Jay Crowder set up.
All right, so that's the first set. That's, who is that? That was Chris Paul. Let's watch the next ones.
7-foot center is on that list, but he is.
Good. So he's reading right here. So John Wall always has a speed, even with his injury. He still has a speed, but he's going at a slow pace. He's reading, and he sees Embiid. I'm pretty sure he sees Embiid. Embiid is staying on him. Was that on Boogie and leaving this lane open. So I don't know who this was. I don't know who's on the Rockets nowadays. We hit him on the roll. John Wall hit him with the roll. Because Joel's a little bit out on the block, or out of the paint, 1 foot in only. Ideally, if I was him, I'd rather have 2 feet in the paint, but he makes that. Now Joel steps in, extra pass. That's the whole thing. Also, I talked about knowing your personnel. You also think about knowing your personnel is if you hit this roll man, do you trust that he's going to make the right play? Or is he just going to force it? Are you putting him in a spot where he can be in an advantageous situation? Or are you just throwing it to him because he's open? Because if he's open right here, let's say, are you going to throw to a dude that's under the basket, like right here, just because he's open? Probably not, because there's not going to have a good scoring opportunity here. You always just kind of have to think of a couple plays ahead. In this case, I mean, this was an open lane. He could have went up with it, but he trusted that he was going to make the right play, whether score or make the extra pass.
It's incredible when you think about just his shooting at that size. His cousin.
Guys are going to run me off the line, or they're going to push me to drive it, and he's put real work in to balance off that game, Ryan.
Well, we would have conversations, Doris.
That was another quick pass. So, the thing that I like about the quick pass is here he's reading. I think that's Seth Curry. He's reading John Wall because he knows he could probably go by Tobias. He knows he's a shooter. John knows he's a shooter, and if he's out of position, flat-footed, standing up tall, not in a position kind of like, I don't know who this is, but staying low and ready to move wherever he needs to go, he knows that he's going to be at least a step behind for a shooter right here. And that's what it is. So he gets a shot, and you can see on this pass, the first thing on the pass that you should be doing as a defender is moving to your person you're guarding. And that's, when I say the first thing, like that's the first step. You can see Seth's first step here, and first thing that he does is he has to get low in order to change direction. If he was low already, he's able to close out to the shooter and even just be like an inch or two or maybe a step there sooner. Maybe making a harder shot or even making him pass out of the shot. But because you'll see Seth here, he's up tall. In order to change direction and to accelerate, you have to get low. So instead of just being low already, he has to get low. Boom. You see how much distance the ball moves at that, just going low? And let's see where the ball is. So I'm kind of looking at his feet. I want to see where the ball ends up being after he takes one step forward. So this is just me being very nitpicky. Or not nitpicky, just kind of just interested in seeing this stuff. So I'm here. He's still not taking one step. He's getting low. I won't count that as the first step. I'll count that as the first step. So his first step, he's already locked and loaded his shot. Look at all the space. If Seth was low already, he would have skipped this whole part right here, and he would have just been able to explode to the shooter. But instead, he's there on the shot rather than on the catch. So there's a big difference. The big difference between being there on the catch, he's not there on the catch. Instead, he's there on the shot. Now he's in position, but at that point, it's already too late. So again, John Wall notices that, sees how he's out of position. A quick line drive pass. See the ball kind of doesn't alter, just go straight pass. Boom, right, a perfect shot or perfect pass into the shooter's pocket. Sets it up and goes. If that pass was a slow lob, if that pass was to his like out of position, like above his head or behind him or in front of him, Seth would have been in good position. But this is the importance of good passing. It's here, straight pass, shooter's pocket, straight up.
Conversations
and
with Rick Carlisle, who would point that out when he was in Dallas about part of it, Doris, because of course there's also
sad
the
to see that
narrative.
Really left.
Okay, you have to be on the floor more if you're going to be in contention. But if you're Philadelphia, the last thing you want to do is try and fight off narrative.
Sets it up again. John Wall is still athletic. He's not going 100 miles an hour. He's reading the screen because he knows he's going to get cut here. So he's slowing it up, reading what's going to happen.
Or help MVP cases and hurt your championship hopes. They need to be smart.
Good, nice take. I think Ben McLemore. So let's read what happens. Danny Green, even if it's just a couple steps, he just takes a quick. John just takes a quick pass to the corner because Danny drops down just a little bit. He knows he's a shooter, closes out, goes by him off a pump fake. Good move. Bad closeout on Green and Joel. Ooh.
Short span here in DC.
A little short stint. House jumps into Matthews.
So this he did use a screen, but he had that pace and hesitation and change of speed to make it look like he was using it. So even though Boogie was there, that little hesitation right there to get low, it looks like he's going to accelerate to bounce out, is enough for the defense to kind of think, oh man, what's he doing? So now, as that Garrison Matthews has to come out to John and help out a little bit. I would think Rui is going to step up a little bit and play both these guys and not just be kind of as low. And kind of Rui probably be up here a little bit, but it's just a split-second move. It's just a quick move where John's out. He's scanning. He's seeing Garrison Matthews drop down to tag Boogie, which he sees Daniel House open for a shot, who's a three-point shooter. And on top of that, House does a great job of moving up. So now Garrison Matthews kind of loses him, and he's closing out to where House used to be, and that even makes him another step behind. Which I think, like I talked about the scramble, I'm not 100% sure. Like I told you, I don't know everything. I think playing this two-man, Rui is supposed to close out the House on that, and then scramble. Matthews comes down to, I forget his name, this guy over here. Nwaba, I think. But in this case, Matthews comes out. I guess that's what happened. He's looking at Rui. He's like, hey, who's closing out? Oh, shoot, I guess I got it. So he's kind of a step late. Animal House does a nice move on that.
Especially at the made free throws. It gives you a chance to set your defense up, control the pace.
Let's see. Yeah, I know. I told you, seeing John in that in a Rockets jersey is not fun. What up, Kenny? He not D-Rose.
Of the game.
Oh, I should not have missed it.
It gives you a chance to set your defense up, control the pace of the game.
Good. Another easy read. It's a little pitch to the big man, dribble handoff. Yeah, dribble handoff coming off the screen. Here, he slips it. He reads. Russ is up, and he has to stop John. So now Rui has to read. Does he want to stop? I forget who this big man is. But Rui has to be the tag man and stop this. John is scanning. Open three in the corner.
Pace of the game.
He comes in. Even Bertans kind of dives in a little bit. But Rui, the low man, has to step up. And John reads that. Open three in the corner. Again.
Jayshawn Tate, the lefty, knocks down the...
On not that many field goals. They were not sharing the ball at all.
Plus, they were missing a whole lot of shots.
Credit the Wizards' defense.
McLemore driving.
That was just McLemore making a good play.
They'll still go on vacation. Their families would still be in contact with each other. And that's when it becomes bigger than basketball and just a teammate.
Wow. All right. Screen, slips it because he sees Avija Davu. I forget his name. Our rookie step up, and now he sees it above him, so he slips it. And let's see what John does. John is looking at the corner, man. I think that was McLemore. I can't really tell. John is looking at the corner just enough with his eyes. Like I said, it's just enough. Just enough for his eyes where Bertans has to respect the shooter. So Bertans, his weight is shifted on his right foot, is on his right side because he's ready to go or shift on his left, leaning to the right side, getting ready to close out to McLemore because John is looking at him. It's just that quick glance, and he's able to do that quick dump off to the screen man for a horse reverse shot. So that's the difference. Bertans could have been there, but just that look off is just enough for Bertans to be out of position.
Contact with each other, and that's when it becomes bigger than basketball and just a team.
Just enough.
Nice
Lucky there was no foul called.
Nice finish there by Russell Westbrook.
Great move. Took advantage of Sterling Brown giving up that middle drive. And Russell Westbrook taking advantage with that left hand. Great move.
Wall thought about a 2-for-1, changed his mind. Now working a two-man game with his college teammate.
That's just an easy read. Lopez playing low. They're going to take this three. Marcus could even hit this dude for a three also. There's one more for John, and then we'll move on to the next one. We're not going to go through all these people, obviously, that you guys, maybe another time, but this is why I can't go through too much, watching film too much, because I just dissect everything. Like, I look, why is he doing this? Why are you doing this? And then my strength and conditioning background, I'm like, why is he leaning this way? What's his knee angles look like? That's the kind of stuff that kind of goes through my head.
Thanks to that man right there, Bradley Beal.
Westbrook.
So screen.
Back in.
Okay. Reese sees Rui dive in a little bit. I was seeing what he was going to do if he was going to roll down, but Rui's seeing that Russ really got screened, so he has to play up. So Wagner has to play up a little bit, or at least backpedal to stop John, force a pull-up. Russ is stuck out of position, so essentially this is like a 4-on-5 situation. He has a roll, he has a shot, he has a corner shot, and ball handler, and then the 4 defense. So Russ is out of position. Rui has to scoot in. Another straight line drive pass off the dribble. It wasn't a lob pass. It wasn't a pass that was behind him, too high, on the floor. It was a straight pass in the shooter pocket. He does a good job of getting his feet ready. 1, 2. Oh, he didn't even shoot it. Does a nice
into the backcourt with
read. Euro, Wagner, Wagner.
And there, all now at 20 points on the night. Underneath.
Nice. This is what John always does. Watching him in DC all the time, he does that little skip bounce, that little hop bounce, just enough as a change of pace. Because whenever John does this, I know Russ is playing far back, but whenever John does this, he can either explode same way left hand or cross it right to his right and go. But in this case, in this instance, he goes straight left. Hard hedge that John's able to go right around. And now he's stuck and he's stuck. So he comes out initially, stops the pass, and I think John was going to go to this corner man, or at least to here because Beal's kind of off. But he reads, he pops back out because I'm guessing John looked out at him. Yeah, right there. So you can see his eyes kind of looking right at him. So he steps out a little bit. A nice strong pass to House. Wide open because Rui has to respect the corner shooter as well.
Underneath, House is left alone.
All right, let's see. Let's go 2 more people. We're approaching about an hour. I don't want to be on here too long. All right, John Morant is the next dude. And the next person on here is Steph. So I'll end with Steph because that's going to be a good one too.
For a lot of years.
Well, he's averaging 20 a game in the month of February.
Yeah. So this is, I saw someone call this something. It's called the hostage dribble. And I love this because in high school, I had a teammate who would do this perfectly. His name was Nigel Johnson, and every time he'd come off a screen, or even if it was like a fast break situation, even off a made bucket, he would get just enough in front of his defender and kind of veer him off and cut him off where the defender is riding their hip. So now, in this case, John Morant knows where his defender is, and he's able to read. So he doesn't have to worry about his man because his man's on his hip and behind him. And I think hostage dribble is just a perfect name for this because, you know, you put your defender in hostage. So it's here. John Morant uses a screen. Uses a screen. And this is a change of pace. Change of pace. He dribbles into him, into Bridges. So now he knows where Bridges is where Bridges is. Bridges is because he's connected to him now. So he does a hostage dribble into him, plays him to his back, and now he's at his mercy. So Ja can read. He can hit this corner guy because he drops in. But then instead he hits the roll man because I guess Kaminsky kind of has to step up a little bit. So Bridges is doing a good job trying to get over because he knows he's in a bad situation. Good hostage dribble by John Morant. So at this split second, Ja is still reading. He's not rushing. So he's reading. He sees DeAndre now kind of goes up because I think Valanciunas is his three-point shooter. He can hit an open three, so DeAndre has to respect that enough where he has to get at least behind him and in position. Ja reads that. Could have been an open floater, and that's actually what it was. Open floater, up shot. Because now Kaminsky dropped down, he dropped down. But you see his hands go up. He could have hit him in the corner as well. So that's what I'm talking about, that pace. He's not in a hurry. He goes into that hostage dribble, reads and feels, or has a feel on Bridges, knows where he's at, and he's reading the defense. The whole time, reading the defense. I'm sure he was trying to score here, but Kaminsky's still shading him a little bit. So he does a little pitch for an open bucket.
Game in the month of February. Tillman with a floater out of the corner, puts in the three. Payne,
I did not know Payne's out there.
Part of that state championship team for Lausanne Collegiate. Lob for Jang. Feeds part of
that slip. A lot of the guys don't really, or that I've worked with, don't have a good feel of a slip. A slip is usually when you feel the person you're screening, or at least the person that's guarding you, or the one you're screening is way high or enough where you can kind of roll down before you set the screen. So a slip is like he slips right before the screen. So that's not a full screen. He knows that he's up. Instead of setting a full screen, he knows that Jay Crowder's staying on this corner shooter, and he's able to go down quick. And he could have came up. He could have put that up, but he didn't. It's a good secondary cut by, I don't know who that is, to be honest.
Part of
that slip.
Championship team for Lausanne
good pass.
Lob for Jang.
Secondary cut.
Grizzlies got Winslow, knowing that he can be a Swiss Army knife type
handoff,
player.
back to the screen.
Do a lot of different things. Jang, little up.
Nice. So another hostage dribble. And usually you could only do a hostage. Well, you really can only do a hostage dribble when you're in front. And John Morant is so fast that he uses his speed, boom, then changes pace. So he goes from catch, sets up the screen, gets the screen, sprints, accelerates, and then once he knows he has him on his hip, dribbles into him. So you see that dribble into him, cuts Jay Crowder off. Just cutting Jay Crowder off forces this dude, I think it's Kaminsky, to step up. And then Ja is just so athletic that he can jump in the air and kind of decide what he's doing off the air. So Payne does a huge drop to, what's his name? Oh, that's Gorgie Dieng. Dieng down here. But at the end of the day, this is 6'11", 7-footer off a point guard. You're going to give it to him. And he has a corner shooter open. But when you have a center point guard matchup, you take that every time. But like I said, Ja is just so athletic that he can jump in the air and decide. So it looks like he's going to the corner man. He's going to the corner man, but he's like, oh, actually he's good. There's no, because he had to step up. He has this wide open lane right here where he drops it. Back to the basket, drop step. Not an easy bucket, but still a bucket, gets a foul.
Knife type player.
So that's a change of pace, change
do a lot of different things.
Of direction.
Jang, little up and under. Bridges with 8 in the second quarter and now 15 for the game.
You see
he had this slip.
Selling out.
So even on a mess up, because he was gonna hit Valanciunas on a slip because they both collapsed on Ja. And Valanciunas notices that he's up high, so he's going to slip it. He looks back, he sees Ayton, and he sees, if it's CP3, like I said, if you see a center and a point guard, you're going to make that play. And Ja sees that, and it looks like he was trying to pick up the ball to get the pass, but he tries to draw the foul with that little head flip. Doesn't get it. But then he's reading. Look, you see right when he gets the ball, he picks up the ball, but as he's picking up the ball, he's looking up. He sees this man cut down. Kaminsky follow him, leaving this dude open for a three. So he had like two things going through. He's going to hit Valanciunas on the slip. Didn't happen. He's scanning, poised and under control. Kaminsky drops down, wide open three.
You see that they are selling out to any John Morant screen and roll. Melton.
Exactly. What the announcer just said, John Morant at this point, they're doubling. They're trying to flatten him out.
For the game.
Not quite a hedge, but flattening him out.
You see that they are
and then making other people score. And then look, it's working. I didn't even know it's a score. 68-34.
John Morant screen and roll. Melton.
Bain working along the baseline. A Tillman three. Melton battling for it and saving. The Grizzlies get a fresh 14.
Screen, under control. This is the epitome of just being poised and under control. Sets up. That little skip right there is just enough to do another setup. Because from here to that little skip, he can cross it over to his left and go right by. But he noticed he's flat-footed, so he can actually use the screen. Goes here. Bridges gets caught. Now Kaminsky's like, oh, God, what's he going to do? Is he going to pull up? Is he going to blow by? And he's trying to read the roll man. So in this case, he did what a lot of people would have done. Stop Ja Morant. So he's rolling, or coming down, stopping for an open floater, which is a tough shot. So, I mean, playing percentages, like I said, the score kind of shows the defensive scheme for the Suns was right, working. But under control, Ja Morant, bounce pass.
Tillman, he's developed
and again, a bounce pass. If he probably would have done chest pass, Kaminsky probably could have got a hand on. Bridges has long arms. That could have probably been tipped. It's why it's important to know all your different passes, all different type of angles, one hand, two hand, all that stuff. Because it's something so simple, but that was just the right way. Look, Bridges' hands are up. If you would have chest pass, that could have been tipped.
Ayton didn't move to the right spot on the offensive end where they had the ball knocked out. Didn't stop the ball.
Let's go one more.
They are still arguing with one.
That was more
check back in for the Grizz.
Kaminsky.
Chris Paul's putting on a show here. That's 4 for 4 from 3 for Chris Paul.
This coming off a game where he
Double
was
screen.
at 15 and.
Ooh, that's a nice play. Double screens, slip. Now Chris Paul has to decide what he's doing because now there's a second screen. And this happens a lot. They made this little double screen. Kaminsky's in no man's land. Do I want to stop Ja? Because this, again, instead of it being a 4-on-5 situation, it's like a 3-on-5 situation. Because Book is out of position, Ayton is out of position. So Ja has a bunch of things that he could do. He can drive it to the rack, make Kaminsky go, and then hit him, or he can drive it to the rack, blow past Kaminsky. Chris Paul has to drop down and open three. But here, open pass. All right, last one was Steph. This is going to be fun because Steph could literally do whatever he wants out there. And it's going to be the stuff that I like about this is watching the passes. You get to see how their mind works and the different ways they change the pace, the different ways that you see John Morant kind of does stuff differently than Chris Paul. Maybe Chris Paul a few years ago, maybe however long, 10 years ago, it would have been the same as Ja as far as moving that speed and the angles. But everybody's different, and they play to their advantages. Obviously, Steph has an advantage on the pick and roll because everybody's playing that shot because he's the greatest shooter in NBA history. But like I said, everybody sees the highlights on the scores and the layups and the three-pointers, but dissecting the passes and seeing how they read the game and react to defensive rotations and like that is really, really fun to watch.
You want to lose.
Evan Fournier is 5 of 6. You mentioned his
Oh
career
my
best.
God! See the first pass, the first play for this game. Let's see. Sets up the high screen. Again, at this point, all the good guards that have this little hesitation, like skip dribble with their feet right here, he's deciding in midair. If he goes over the screen, Steph can cross it to his right hand and go by. But since he sees him, who is that guy? I don't know who it is, but since he sees him actually get screened by Pascal, he knows that he can just continue going. But like I said, if he steps up and goes over, crossover, now he's out of position. Either way, he's out of position, which is really tough, especially when you're a quick guard. So here he's reading. All right, I'm good. He got screened, so I'm going to use the screen. Steph under control, doesn't sprint, doesn't go too fast. Coming in. So this, he's reading. And then Valanciunas has to step up higher. You saw on our other guys, especially on John, there's a big difference between big man having to drop a certain way, but Vucevic, that's it, Valanciunas. Vucevic has to step up higher because obviously Steph is going to shoot that, can shoot that. So here, Steph is reading, and he's reading this opposite guy right here. He drops down because he has to tag this roller. And then Steph, being Steph, does a nice left hand off the dribble. Straight line, not even looking. That's crazy. That is so underrated from Steph is his passing. Because here he's looking at the roll man, or I don't even know who he's looking at. Probably looking at Terrence Ross. Left hand, straight dribble. It still looks like he's hitting the roll. That's why Terrence Ross hasn't closed out yet. But then it goes past him, and Terrence Ross is like, oh, crap. I got to get to the shooter. Open shot. It's just a zip pass. That's the importance of passing. Right in his pocket. Right in his pocket. Not over here, not over here, not over here, not over here. Straight pass to where the shooter wants it. Can step in rhythm for an open shot.
You mentioned his career best 32 against the Dubs. Michael Mulder right off. You're beginning the trip here. See if you can get.
I would love to do Scalabrine Steffi, but our film doesn't go back that far.
Quarter.
So again, hesitation, sets up the screen. Set the screen. Roll man.
Pascal, good look to Mulder. He hit one.
So again, sets up the screen. Continues to go because he noticed that he's flat-footed. He doesn't have to cross it over. Slips it because he's on his high side, or Pascal slips it because he's on his high side. Now he has to respect Steph's shot, step up a little bit. Another no-look left wraparound. And this is KYP again, knowing your personnel as far as is he going to make the right play. This time he makes the read. He drops down for an open shot.
Pascal, good look to Mulder. He hit 1-3. Making
Another good
one.
pass in the shooter pocket.
Over.
So, my goodness. All the way with the left hand.
They put two of the Warriors in the basket there.
That's the best big man nobody talks about right there.
All right. Change of pace. Draymond doesn't even set a real screen. He kind of just forearms him. But that's just enough for Steph to go by. Steph uses his body because he knows where his guys are going to be over here. Using his body because he knows this guy's going to have to close out this way. His defender, his on-ball defender is going to have to close out. But since he's screening him and kind of just pitches off to him, he knows to get in both these guys' way. Fournier's way also because one of them is going to close out.
Nobody talks about
pitch.
Right
kind of gets in the way.
JTA for 3.
Shot.
These dudes.
Well, we said 10 straight games for Oubre where he's playing really well. They missed 3 short by Vucevic. The Warriors are more than back in the game. We'll get a little Steph pyrotechnic.
That's another good play by the.
You got some momentum. You want to keep it going. That almost is deflating.
It's a 5-point swing there.
It's another good pass. Another good pass. And like I said, Steph does a great job going to his pace. That skip dribble, or that whatever you want to call it, there's a name for everything. I don't know what it's called. But that little skip right that he does, Vucevic is like, oh, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Because honestly, Steph can pull right here. So you got to respect that too, which is crazy. And he sees that he's kind of sticking more on him. And I think that's Draymond, so he should be playing lower. But he's up, bluffs a little bit, stunts bluff. Fournier, he sees Fournier reading the cut, leaving Oubre open again. Curry does a great job of squaring his feet and knowing that he has to do a wraparound to the right. And he's seeing that he can do that pass to Oubre. Another strong pass, a little bit to his left, which makes the closeout, which makes the pass a little bit tough. But you can see with his eyes, Steph does just enough to hold him off, where Fournier has to read this roll man enough and stay flat-footed, where he could still hit him on the roll. So it's just enough where Fournier has to kind of contort his body all the way around, where it's instead of just a straight line closeout, Fournier has to kind of lip it and kind of curve it. Just enough time wasted where Oubre can put up a good shot. So you see Fournier kind of curve the closeout. It's a lot longer to go this way than straight. So we're here. And Oubre honestly could have drove for a baseline dunk, but he's on this 1-2 step.
It's a 5-point swing there.
Catch and shoot.
And Oubre, what a quarter. In the bandana, that's Mitty's own Aaron Gordon, who has been injured. Jonathan Isaac's a great player that's not going to play.
That's another play.
Usually, even if you're a really good defender with some quickness. Curry's got Vucevic, gets around.
Nice. So another thing that Steph does a great job of, and it's kind of moving screen, but it's all good. So Steph tried to split this right here. He does a little in and out because another thing that people don't realize is this stuff isn't scripted. Like, he's not trying to do an in and out dribble to bounce it back out. Steph reads this and wants to go wants to cross it over to go in between to split this. But as a result, these two defenders did a good job of closing off that. He bounces it out into an in and out. It's not I'm going in and out right here. It's here I'm going to try to split. Because you can tell his body angles is looking to go downhill. He's looking to go downhill, goes in and out, instead pops it out. And even just that is just really great that Steph does. Looks to accelerate, pops it out. Now Vucevic is on his heels. Okay, he's on his heels. Steph knows he's going to be able to have him on his hip. And Steph does a great job of getting this arm bar. So, Steph does this all the time. A lot of point guards nowadays do this arm bar thing where they kind of swipe and makes the defender out of position just enough because defenders love having a hand on that little, what is that called? That hand check. I know it's illegal nowadays, but they still have that one hand on the body just to stay connected. But Steph does a great job of having his arm over that hand, just enough for him to stay in front. And then what Steph does is he does a great job of riding, good in position. So he's riding until he can turn that corner. A lot of the times, and I see this with younger kids, or I would say inexperienced, is that when they see this, they want to go all the way around. They want to get it at it like a curve. What Steph does a great job here is cutting him off and getting into the lane like a straight line drive. So the angle that he takes is sharper. He doesn't try to just circle all the way around. Because if he circles all the way around, this help guy is going to be able to stop him. And it's not good positioning to hit the corner man. So over here, he goes down towards the elbow right here, straight line drive, and now he's like, all right, now I really got to stop him. Steph does a great job of driving it just deep enough where he has to make a play. And Steph is reading. In this whole situation, Steph is reading, all right, if he doesn't go to me, I'm going to take it in for an easy layup. And then if he does go to me, I'm going to kick it out. So he's thinking about this the whole time, about probably right here. He's going. It's a big slide, 1-2, but then he kicks it out. Open shot for Draymond, who makes a 3. Another thing that I would have done if I was this dude, though, is I would have taken that charge. And I don't know if they call chargers on Steph, but he's in position right now. Like right now, he could have taken a charge right here, but he kind of scoots back a little bit. Here's Draymond for a 3.
Because Ross has 21, Fournier 28.
Let's go
Vucevic
2 more.
24.
See 2 more Steph.
So you know who's shooting for the guys in blue.
Nice pocket pass.
Damian Lee.
Nice. And this is the great thing about playing with Draymond is you know he's going to make the right play. So Steph sets up the screen, slow, stays low. And when I was talking about setting up a screen, you always mostly want to be at least like a foot below the screener. So Steph is setting up the screen coming low. Because what happens here, you kind of see Fournier take a step back. So Fournier ideally wants to stay attached to Steph on the screen so he can stay up well on him, especially as a shooter. You want to stay up and go over the screen. But Steph does a great job of accelerating forward, making Vucevic kind of switch his feet a little bit and kind of play back a little bit, just enough space where it's going to be an easier screen for Steph to come off. So over here, you see that Fournier has to step back a little bit to play the drive, just enough space for Draymond to hit a good screen. And Draymond's a great screener, so he'll come in, slip in just a little bit. Boom. He slips in just enough where it's a tough angle for Fournier. So you're here. That's why they talk about good screeners. Good screeners make a big difference. Another, if you weren't a great screener, Draymond would have just stayed still and Fournier would have been a slip right through. But Draymond being Draymond, knows he can get away with stuff. Kind of just gets out the way, sticks his butt out. So now there's no space between Steph and Draymond for Fournier to go through, which leads Vucevic to play Steph and respect the shot. You got to play up, which makes Vucevic out of position. He hits Draymond. Terrence Ross, I want to say. Terrence Ross has to step up and it's a quarter shooter again. So it's here. It's a hard, flat-out pocket pass to Draymond. So Terrence Ross has to step up. And Draymond's going to hit that corner pass again. Right on the dot. Line drive, pocket, 1-2. Perfect. Let's watch this again. This is the last thing we'll go over. Again, walks it up, sets it up. Forces Fournier to play back. Play that drive. Just enough space that Steph creates for Draymond to set this screen. Because you can see he's a foot below. He's a step below. And then Draymond being Draymond does a great screen to get him. Vucevic has to step up. And these guys are shooters, so they have to stay here. They have to stay home. It's usually the opposite man who stays up. Good pass from Steph because he reads this. Fournier's out of position. Vucevic has to play up because Steph is a great shooter. Draymond makes a good play to not take a wild drive to the rack because you can see them kind of collapse in. Easy pass, right on the money. Again, passing is so important. Passing is just as important as the shot.
24.
Let's watch this one more time.
That's 21, Fournier 28,
Vucevic
24. So you know
attacks,
for the guys
pass.
in blue. Damian Lee catch and shoot. Damian Lee with a
Great play. Yeah, that's all I got. For everyone that watched, that commented, that followed, and all that stuff, I appreciate you guys coming out to this first testing pilot stream. If you guys have any suggestions on what to do, what topic to go over, I'm gonna try and figure out how to get the best window for this. I got to figure out how I can full screen this because I'm using a ultra wide monitor. So that's why it's kind of weird, but I got to figure out how I can just make this full screen. Like I said, I appreciate you guys coming, watching, and commenting and following and all that stuff. But this was, like I said, that test, that pilot stream, just kind of get things going, kind of give you guys an idea of what I have planned for this. But yeah, appreciate you guys.